Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. Hope everyone is good. Hi, Samantha. Thank you for joining. I know that you're not feeling fine, but thank you for still joining. So we're still expecting more people to come in. I just want to quickly. Okay, we're good to go. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. It's a privilege to have everyone here. Please, I want to encourage everybody to get a book and a bio, just take notes from everything that we said during this session. Also, feel free to share the link to friends and family if you want, right? But please don't post on Twitter so that we're not hacked, right? Just maybe WhatsApp and all of this. Also, we're also currently live on YouTube, so we can get to watch this later on. So I think I'll just do a brief introduction quickly about the communities organizing this. So my name is Dara Sobele. Um, so we have the community called Growing with God. So basically, Growing with God is a Christian community of believers from different parts of the world where we pray to God every day, spend time in His presence. Then you also have the Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad. So this community is more about mental health advocates. And then you have Executives Helping Initiative, which is a non-for-profit focused on helping orphans, people in the prison, and also raise money for people that have cancer, sickle cell, or mental health related issues, basically, right? And what we've been doing this year is inviting amazing people that are sort of professionals in their own space, just to be able to help people. I'm sure that most of us are in Nigeria. A lot is going on. The economy is a lot. Most people are either trying to get jobs or they are struggling, or maybe people are not earning well, regardless of whichever category you're in. So I reached out to Samantha. So Samantha is the head of HR at Jobberman. And the idea was for her to just share her experience so that many of us can take some of this experience to see how um, we could get high paying jobs, maybe even get a job, right? So, because I know that she has to deal with so many recruitments across the country, for Africa as well. So please take notes. There would also be a segment where we get to ask questions as well. So thank you. So I just want to introduce Samantha to just speak. Also, Samantha, thank you so much. I know she's not feeling too good, but she still decided to show up. So thank you. All right. So do you want to share your screen? No, you need to unmute your mic. I can't hear you. So I can't hear you. You need to unmute.
So I share my screen with you. I think I'm going to send the slide to you. I'm just trying to um, get myself. I just got home from the clinic now, and I'm trying as much as possible not to distress myself. So I'll probably just share my slide with you now because I'm trying to figure. I'm using my
Okay.
tablet. Hi everyone. Apologies. So yeah, it's it's really stressed for me to be here today. But I'm also excited to be here. Just let me know if you can see my screen. And then we can just get into it. So it's just be as brief as possible. Just give me a second. Let me just get myself together.
All right. No problem. No problem. Thank you.
There, so I don't let me so I don't waste your time. I'm going to forward the slide to you.
All right.
Just Okay, so I will just start talking so that I don't delay this further because I just have like about 30 minutes. Nice to have everyone here. So my name is Samantha, as Daria had already as had earlier introduced me. And I think I'm also excited about the topic today. But aside me being excited about the topic, I think that the topic is really beyond, getting a job. So when it comes to job and then career also, I see job as something that you're paid to do, which might or might not lead you to a career. And then I see the career bit also being something that would give you a reward long term. Most times jobs are like short-term fulfillment and career is something that you can aspire to get. The reason why I'm just emphasizing on this is that as much as we want to, earn the money, quick money right now as we start our career, the bitter truth is that most times it's not always that way, right? Um, Most times we start our career and then the jobs are not, you're not getting a millionaire job on the spot because really it's experience that, pays certain things like that. Just give me a minute. Okay. Um, All right, so I'm just going to talk about different aspects today in getting your job slash career, as I already mentioned. So it's a sad thing you cannot see my screen right now. I'm not sure what's wrong with the internet and network today. I'm just trying as much as possible to try and forward it to Barry because I somehow cannot share my screen. Taking forever. I'm Barry, have you seen it?
Oh, yes, I have. So let me just share my screen now. I just click on the slideshow.
Okay. Okay, so I think we can go to the next slide. Okay, good. Yeah, the next slide, I'll just talk through it. Okay. Um, Hi everyone. Apologies again. Please bear with me. I'm usually very up late, but I've been ill for the last 5 days, and I just did not want to push this any further than I have done in the past. Um, and I'm really excited to have you people here. Just ignore my face. I'm quite really, really sick. So I will just talk through everything that has to do with the job market. We know that we are in a very competitive market, as much as we're in the era whereby there's scarcity of talent. There are a lot of jobs, but the reality is that we don't have people to fill the jobs, not because there are not jobs or there are no people, but we do not have the right kind of people to fill the jobs. Which is why this session is really important. because it just more or less places you, tells you what to do in the labor market. So it's always been like this from time immemorial, in the sense that the market has always been competitive, but right now you have more jobs and less people, right, for to fill those roles. My session today will talk about how you can stay ahead of that trend and ahead of the curve, in the sense that there are jobs, but there are no people. But how then will you be that little percentage, maybe the 5% of people that would fill those jobs that we have currently? And then also, in relation to the career path also, how do you, now you've gotten into the job, how do you ensure that you stay in that job? It goes beyond getting that high-paying job, right? Once you get in, how do you ensure that you stay on the job, you grow on the job, you also attract promotion on the job, whether internally or externally. If people want to come and poach you, or if people feel like within your business you're able to take up more roles within the business. And just a nutshell. So I would talk about, first of all, how do you really get those jobs or those career, and then how do you prepare yourself to get into that field, and then how do you sell yourself? So I broke it down into different angles, which I will talk about later on in the slide. The next slide. All right. Next slide. Okay. So I call this the preparation stage because I know that I have a different levels of people, and you will be at different points in your career. Some people might be at the point whereby they're trying to figure out what career path do I go into. So please note that I would switch job for career path because I'm really not a fan of job, right? I'm an HR person, so I would always advise you to find a career path and find your calling in that career path and then grow, right? Because it's like a ladder. You start off maybe like with 50, or maybe, let me say, 200K. And in the next 5 or 3 years, it depends on what organization you work in, that 300K might eventually become a 1 million. But that depends on you as a person. So I call this phase the preparation phase, whether you're in the midst of a career path or a job, or you're just starting. Because many a times we usually switch careers. You might, start off with customer service and you don't find fulfillment in what you're doing. So how then are you able to switch from that customer service role into a high-paying career path or a job? So what I always advise people to do is, what would your goal be? What do you want to really achieve? Do you want a paying job, or a fulfilling career with a high paying job, or rather with a high paying salary? So you now have to think about, like, how do I get here? How do I get either the high paying job if you want to just stick to a job, or how do I get that high paying career? Many a times we feel like it's just like the oil company jobs or the tech jobs that are high paying. But the actual fact is that that's not the case. It depends on the level you are in your career. It depends on what industry you're servicing. It depends on the skill set. It depends on the country you're also working in. That would also determine the revenue peso for that one. So I would try as much as possible not to put my ideology, because I'm really not money driven. As that might sound quite funny, but yes, I always try to find fulfillment in what I do. That's really what keeps me going. So my first point would be, first of all, to identify your chosen career path or niche, right? So most of the times we don't do what we've studied in school. And it's important that we ensure that we do not box ourselves with our first degree or second degree. I'm going to emphasize this because you come out of university, you studied accounting, or maybe your parents said, "Oh, accounting is something that pays well. I think you should do accounting." But you know deep down in your heart and your soul and in your mind that accounting is not something that you want to do. But our parents are paying the school fees, right? So let's just speak to them and let's pass our examination. But you know that you have the gift for either, speaking to people, maybe sales, or maybe marketing, or maybe human resources, or maybe even being a doctor or something, or maybe being a nurse. It's important to also take a step back and find what your calling is in relation to the job. Many a times we have more than one, but it's very, very important that before you decide to say, okay, I want to apply for this job, instead of just applying for every job that you see, find your part, like find where you find fulfillment in. Um, because as you grow in your career, the money would not keep you. It would not keep you fulfilled. It's whether you like the job that you do or you find fulfillment in what you're doing. That's what will keep you there for a long time. Um, but again, if you're motivated by money, perhaps money can keep you there. But my own advice as an HR person over the years is first of all, find your fulfillment in what you're doing. So find your part, find where I need to be in, and then identify what aspect of that career is probably eye paying. Um, so I see myself I studied accounting, right? And we know that you can study accounting, you can go into investment banking, you can become an auditor, you can become an accountant, right? Um, do you want to remain an accountant overall? Do you want to go into investment banking? And we know that there are different segments, right? The investment bankers are maybe the highest paying in that particular bracket, especially in Nigeria. People want to start in auditing firms because auditing firms will give you that initial level or training that you would need when you're coming in. And it's also an investment. You might not necessarily get that, super, investment banking high paying price, but in the long term, you might eventually get there. The reason why I'm saying this is that even with every path we decide to go with, right, you need to identify where do I want to stand? Even if you're going into a human resources now, what industries will I want to practice my human resource management? Do I want to look at it from maybe oil and gas, FMCG, or whatsoever? But it's important you find your niche. After doing that, learning is something that never stops. So you need to engage in continuous learning. In that field I've looked at, what are the skill sets I need to acquire to get into that path? What are the skill sets I need to get to that will make me stand out from the crowd, right? Is it both technical and then both soft skill? And there's something that would there's a skill right now that even me as a recruiter and even me as a manager, I look at when I'm hiring. I need people who can think, right? People who can think outside the box. I don't necessarily have to spoon feed you every other time. I need to see that you know something and you're thinking. Because problems comes like change is the only thing constant. And the only way people stay ahead of changes or are able to navigate changes because they are able to think and navigate solutions. So it's important that you engage skills and you keep on learning. The learning doesn't stop when you get the job. It continues after you get the job, when you get a promotion, as you're growing. So as it is right now, I don't think I'm tearing my career, right? I personally don't think I'm tearing my career. But one thing I do constantly is learn. My learning can be from reading articles or following pages in relation to my career. It could be a LinkedIn page that continuously post on things about HR. It could be learning the new trends on HR or learning things about the business. Because I practice HR in a different okay. We practice HR in a different way right now. We don't push papers also. We also learn about the business. How well are we able to use people to drive the business? So it's important that I also learn about the business and the current trend in order to stay ahead or to attract people for the business. So learning is something that is continuous. If you want to get that great job, learning. If you're not ready to learn, you would not get it. That's the fact. So I've spoken about acquiring skills. So ensure you acquire the skills. So if it's a soft skill training you want to do, if it's a technical training, or if it's a certification you want to get, ensure that you get it and you just have them. You know, um, my other point would be prepared. Like be prepared for that role because you never know when it's going to click, right? So in getting prepared is learning is part of the preparation. Knowing everything about that role or that career path, it's part of the preparation. Because if you fail to prepare, you might as well just, forget about that high paying job or that great career. The other part that is also very, very essential is networking. This also includes peer-to-peer networking, or networking beyond your own level. And many of the times, right, both of them work hand in hand. You would not say, okay, because I'm on the same level with the person, it means I should not network with someone that is in a different company. You never know who that person knows or what industry that person plays in. So never be afraid to network. So network is not something that you need to like force it or whatever. It could be just from a very casual conversation we're having, or something. I think that the way I met Dari is somewhere, it's something similar to I think Dari reached out to me, I think 3 or 2 years ago. I really can't remember. And he wanted me to, I think it was a pro bono or something, but we just kept in touch, kind of. And then I had an opening in my organization, and then I put it up. He also applied, and it was a good fit. So that worked, right? That was also a form of networking, which was, even if it was online, like social media, LinkedIn, kind of. Go for events that are relating to your own field. I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. My job requires me to be an extrovert. But when I get to the job, that comes out. I don't know how it comes out, but it comes out. But naturally, I'm an introvert. But I find it difficult to network. But once it gets to my field, once it's HR, I don't know where it comes from. I just blend in. And I think that is also part of, knowing your niche and, finding your calling and just finding a place that you fit. So that works well for me. So find a way to, if you're an extrovert, that works, that's fine. Like there's no guide, right? You might even give a master class on networking, but networking works a whole lot. Like I've had personal experiences whereby networking has, helped me, move up in my career. Like I've not been in rooms where they've been having conversations about certain things and like, okay, yes, Samantha can actually do it. Let's get her on board, or let's contact her and whatnot. I probably might not say yes to all of them, but it feels good when you know that your name is being mentioned, because found a way to reach out to people and speak to them at events, and share your own thoughts and your own aspiration and your passion about what you do. um I think the last point I'll talk about, and this is something that I believe that we're on a Zoom call, so everybody has this: digital literacy. Many a times, once you're on a job, nobody gives you a manual on what to do, on how to navigate an application or whatever. Literally, nobody gives you a manual. So if you really cannot navigate certain things, it's going to be a problem. It's really going to be a problem. To stand out, you must at all times ensure that you are a digital literate. Like you need to be on top of that. It might be from either how to navigate LinkedIn, whatever the case is, but just ensure that you know everything that you need to know about, the internet, your field, and more so. Dari, the next slide, so that I can be in time, but yes. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, because I forgot to rearrange my slide. The CV part before the interview. Okay, so for the CV, I kind of tag this standing out because the CV is the first thing I see as a recruiter. And your CV can either make or break you. Most times, when people have a very chaotic CV, there's every high chance that you would not get into the door. You judge people from their CVs, either the way it's presented, the way the format is, the way they align their skills, the way they present everything. I think about 2 weeks ago, I saw a CV. I'm like, please, what is this exactly? And I didn't need to speak to the candidate to know that that candidate was not it, right? And then I saw another CV, and the person just highlighted everything I needed to see. And I had a conversation with that person. And in 5 minutes, I knew that the person was smart. I knew the person was what I needed to have. But it's important that you stand out first, because your CV is the first thing the recruiter feels, right? It's like what you wear on your clothes, but that's now your own career, right? So most times, the parts that are compelling, I will mention them in 4 parts, right? Whether you have experience or you don't have experience, these 4 areas are very essential. The first one being your professional summary. So many a times you don't need to, write jargons or write a lot of things. Just highlight it to where you feel like you want to go to. And it doesn't need to be, I feel like having a professional summary of maybe like 4 lines is enough. What you need to do is sell yourself. Okay, I'm blah blah blah. I have maybe 2 years in human resources or customer service, and in those 2 years, these are the skills I've gotten. Yes, I've gotten communication skills, organizational skills, blah blah blah. This is where I want to be, and this is how I would impact the organization. Many a times we might feel like we're tooting our own too much in that professional summary, but whatever you feel like is the best part to take to get to it, please do it and ensure that it is straight to the point, it's brief, and it captures your essence as easy as it could be. And then the next thing you have to look about is highlighting your skill set. So I see CVs that they just write, oh, job experience. I worked for Ajalan as a customer service person, and that's it from June to May or June 2022 to May. And I'm thinking, what did you do in that role? Right? Because I really want to know, what did you do? If you fail to put in what you did in that role, you're telling me that you don't want the job. You're telling me you're not serious. So for your CV, ensure that you put in. I'm not saying that it has to be like 10, no. So I related with customers. I worked in a diverse team and things like that. I worked in a diverse team. What you're telling me is that you know how to, like, your team management skills or your teamwork skills is good, right? And you're able to blend easily because you've put diverse, you've put team. You're telling me that you've done this already, and I know that you can easily come into the system and then start that, right? As an accountant, you don't put anything. I want to see, like, I've either used, Excel or maybe use an accounting application to, prepare month-end reports, or as an HR person, you just put human resources. And I'm thinking, did you do payroll? Did you do recruitment? Did you do performance management? What exactly did you do? Right? It's important that you highlight what you've done, because if you don't highlight what you've done, it's difficult for the recruiter to pick exactly what the skill set is required for that job, or to even know if you've had experience doing that before. So always add your skill set. Like, highlight what you've done under your job function. It's very, very important. Like, it makes you stand out. You can even take a step ahead to add your key achievement, right? So you're a salesperson. You were able to bring in maybe 150% of your revenue target that you were given. Why would you not want to have that in this? Right? Nobody's going to wait for you to the interview time to come and tell me that, oh yeah, I've done 150% of my revenue target, maybe consistently for like the last 6 months. If I see that, I'm like, this person is a high flyer, I want to speak to that person. Now imagine you taking that important information off your CV. I'm not going to know that you're good, right? Like, this is your chance to stand out. So for key achievements, I like the things you've done. Anything that you feel like you did special for your organization and you know that you were part of, highlight it here. Like, after writing what you've done for the company, or like your JD, or this is the work I've done, add like give it like a 2 bullet points and put your key achievement. I participated in this, and this drives, whatever the case is, or this brought in, customers or whatsoever. But do not be shy to toot your own. Like, sell yourself. You're the one, like, this is you. You're selling yourself. Nobody, if you don't sell yourself, who's going to sell yourself for you? Like, that. Make sure that is in the CV. My final point would be, keep it simple and brief. It doesn't make sense having 5 pages CV. I'm sure even the CEO of some certain companies do not have that, right? As a recruiter, I get bored. I don't want to know. I don't want it that. Like, just give me the highlights. Because by the time you look at the first page, you already know whether the person is whether a good candidate or not a good candidate. You cannot give somebody 5 pages. Are we reading an essay or something? Like, it has to be very, very brief. Like, keep it simple, straight to the point, and brief. I know many a time, if a lot of us go in Nigeria, we know our lecturers like stories and like we want to give them what is giving you. But when it comes to the real life, right, it's important that we drop what we learned in school. Most of it, not everything, most of it. and then become very practical. Like, what would recruiters want to see when they're hiring? What would the hiring manager want to see? Keep it brief, but ensure that in keeping it brief and simple, make sure you hit the nail on the head. Like, get everything. Like, when you open your CV, like the first page, even yourself, you would even have those people seeing your CV. That is what you need to stand out. And that's the thing that would really get you into the door, right? I know most of the time as Nigerians, some people want to see, oh, what state am I from? Am I married? I don't want to see whether you're married or not. You can put in the age. It depends on if you're an entry level person or whatsoever. But I'll tell you a fact, as a recruiter, I think year two of my job, and I'm like 12 years into my career. Year two, I could already tell how old someone was from their educational background. So many a times, except it's an entry level job and you're really particular about age, you can put in the age. But details about state, local government or village give birth to you, please don't do that. Just go straight to the point. Your name, your email address, maybe you may not put your address there, but you can say, okay, I stay in maybe Lekki, Lagos, or I stay in maybe Maitama, Abuja, or whatsoever the case is. Like, go straight to the point. Put your details there. Let your executive summary or your professional summary come into place. Then you start your work experience. If you've never worked before, if you've done an internship, or you've maybe been part of an association or a community like this, what have you contributed to the community? Those things would also tell me that you have skills that you've also been unearthing, which are very, very good for you. So you don't necessarily have to have a work experience. What have you done beyond work? What have you done in school? What have you done with your project or volunteering? But just ensure that you put all those details and let them know what skills you've learned from that. Dari, the next slide, which is the interview. Going in a different way, but which is the interview? Interview. First, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this one. Okay. So the interview part I feel like it's my favorite part because I've been in an interview where I've spoken to a first class graduate and the person bungled in an interview because he wasn't able to compose himself very well. It was just very pompous and it was just, focusing on what he had on his academic record and not even learning outside what he had gotten at school. So before you go for any interview, whatever the company is, right? I always tell my candidates and then my mentees also that a job and work is a relationship. It's a relationship between the company and you as an employee. It's a time for you to say, does this company really align with my own personal mission and vision, right? Sometimes I have a mentor that would never work for a company that produces alcohol or cigarettes or something, because that's just our own personal values, right? And then God has been very, very great for her that even when those companies come, she's like, no, I want to go for those companies. And she's actually found companies that align with what she wants to do. Now, taking me back to the researching, right? It doesn't make sense that you're coming to an interview and you don't know what the company does. You don't even know if they align with what you want to do, right? You just say, oh, I got this call for this company. It's an oil and gas company. Does it end there? Are they into what kind of oil and gas? Like, is it cooking gas or is it like normal oil and gas, right? I'm just trying to say that, but it's important that you know the company, research the company very well. Like, what are their parts, right? Have you gone to the Glassdoor? What have their previous employers said? Although those things can be quite dicey, but go on the news. What is the news saying about them? Have they had any scandal in the past? Have they had any issues of, just laying off people maybe after 2, 3 years or whatever the case is? Know what their mission and vision are. Know what the company culture is. Go to their social media. What has been the recent news about them, right? So that when those conversations come in during interview, because I would always ask, like, what do you know about my company and why do you want to work here? The best thing you can do is link their mission and vision to your own personal self, right? So if someone should ask me, why do I why have I stayed in Jobberman? Why do I want to work in Jobberman? I would tell you that I'm passionate about what I do as an HR person. And I love that I'm in an organization that we're able to also impact in the younger generation, either through soft skill training or either through job placement. But the bottom line is that I am impact driven, and that's why I love my own organization, right? I'm able to link what the company is doing to my own personal mission and vision. And that's why I really do enjoy where I work. So it's important that you know everything, right? There might have been one very important news that just came up maybe maybe a night before your interview, and then it just comes up during the interview. You would be underprepared if they ask you for certain things that you don't know. It would just tell the person that you're not serious about this job. Even if you're a great talent, you might get the job, but like I will still be looking at you like, are you that great? Do you get? Are you really interested in my own organization? The other thing I'll tell you is to understand your role. People give JDs not because they want to give JDs, but just for you to understand what you're coming in to do. Many a time you come in and change is constant, but fundamentally what you have on your JD is still what we've been here. So review your JD, understand your JD that has been sent to you. If they don't send you a JD, ask them for the JD. That also makes them know that you're serious about the role. Then link your own experiences to the JD and sell yourself during the interview. The other thing I'll talk about is terminology. You go for an interview as an HR person, and I'm asking you, oh, what part of HR do you do? And you tell me, oh, I bring people in and I take them out. And I'm like, what does that mean exactly? What you're trying to tell me is that, oh, I do recruitment and talent acquisition. So you do not know about the terms, right? So it's important that you know the terminology of the related field you're going for, so that it doesn't seem like you're just, winging it. Like it shows that you mean business. You're very determined about what you want to do, and you know where you're going to. Now, time management. If I join an interview by, let me say, the exact time, most times I join earlier, just because I'm trying to also test candidates, just in case anybody is on my interview panel. That's what I do. So I joined the interview maybe sometime like 5 minutes before the interview, just to see if the candidate is serious. And if you're not there, just like, okay, let's see, watch. And I watch the time, you're still not there. I give you 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, there's every high chance that I will leave that call because I have other things I'm doing. You're telling me that you do not respect my time and you do not respect the organization. That's what you're telling me. So for every interview, show up early. What it does is that once you show up early, it also makes you relax a bit, right? Like for example, I checkmate was not relaxed when I joined this session because I came from the clinic straight here. But you still need to relax, take up, like just relax yourself before you get into the talking phase. Now I go to my final one, which is composure and then language. When you're having an interview, whether physical or virtual, look at the screen. Just assume you're looking into the people's faces, right? You don't want to be looking down or like scribbling a note and people are talking to you and they're assuming. Are you trying to search the questions I'm asking you, or are we having a conversation, or you having a conversation with your notepad, right? It's important to keep, eye contact with people. Use good grammar, very essential. Be professional. Avoid slangs, like you're not talking to your peers. Like forget things like saying, "Oh, this guy," or whatever the case is. Just ensure you use professional languages and avoid slang, right? Slangs are a big red flag. It's like a big no-no during conversations and interviews. Sit well, have a good composure, and just be confident but not cocky. I didn't add difference. Be confident and not cocky. Sometimes even when you don't know the question, because you like you know the question, sometimes it's just tell me that you have confidence, and then once you come in, you're able to find your way around things. So I think that's like my major areas about getting a high paying job. So once you've gotten into this, because serious companies look out for these things, right? Because certain companies that can afford to pay you that high money are servicing clients that demand a lot from them. So it's important that you also give them that value that would show that you're very well interested in the company. So beyond the interview on TV, now I'm going to go back to continuous learning even after you've gotten the job. It doesn't end at getting the job. It's getting the job, keeping the job, and then growing again in your career. Tara, can I have the conclusion? I think I just did like a little bit of line there. So I think in getting a high-paying job, really, just thinking about getting a high-paying job is never enough, as I've overflogged. You just must prepare and ensure that you stay on course with the chosen path you've gotten, which will eventually, get you that millions. Because I'm assuming that we all want to be earning like millions of naira, like from like 700, 500, whatever the case is. I don't know what your high paying is. But I would say that in Nigeria, it's very, very attainable. Just to add to that, it's also important that we do not box ourselves and also looking for jobs. So don't limit yourselves to just a Nigerian employer. Never do that. Like never ever do that. People are in Nigeria getting jobs outside the country and being paid in dollars. Nothing is going to stop you from doing the same thing. You can, if they could do it, you can also do it, right? So it's important that you do not box yourself. Just think about it from the angle of where can I get to? And how do I get here? And I know that I'm speaking to some religious people in here. So my career chose me, and I feel like it was God. I would not say that my journey has been easy. I would never say my journey has been easy, but in all that has happened, I would never regret anything. Before I think this is just, I've grown so much, but before I take any role or position, I always pray about it. So whether it's internal or something, I'll tell my boss, okay, you know what, I'm going to get back to you. They never know why I'm getting back to them, but I'm getting back to them because yes, I have stakeholders like my mentor and people I need to speak to, my family, well, my husband I need to speak to. And then also I need to go back and then just think about it. Does this really align with where I want to go to? Is this something that I feel like I'm ready for? And then just seek the face of God to say, you know what, whatever the case is, let God just lead me. Because many a times, for a fact, we never know what we're doing, right? God just always has a very funny sense of humor and it just fixes everything together. But if you're in that bucket, please always seek the face of God, right? In whatever you do, especially with career. That is one thing. Even with promotion, right? People identify that you are good for this position. But most times we always have imposter syndrome and we don't know that we're ready for that yet. But we need something higher to just link us to the right path. So I think that's like the summary of my session today, Dari. It was really nice having everybody here. It's not like a conversation where I can see everybody's faces or see your comments and whatnot.
Yeah.
If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please do. But most times I like to just confess. I'm always very overwhelmed, but I might take out some time to just, respond when I can. Or maybe in the future, if we decide to have like a get together, gathering, we can also have that too. But it was really, really nice speaking to everybody today. Those on the call. And Daryl, thanks for having me. I'm sorry for always pushing, but thank you for having me for this session today.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't know if you can take one or two questions just in case people have questions. Is that okay with you?
I can.
Yeah,
I
so
can.
does anyone have any?
I think we can stop sharing this slide.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any question? You can just raise your hand so I can allow you to speak. Anyone, there's a way you can raise your hand digitally. Please don't be shy. This is an opportunity to ask Samantha. Maybe someone can even ask her for a job.
Sorry, I don't know travel platform.
All right, so does anyone have a question for Samantha? You can just raise your hand or okay. All right, Samuel. Samuel.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hi.
Good evening, Samantha.
Hi, Samuel.
I'm fine. Okay, I have a question, please. So I want to ask, is there a period of transition where, let's say, for example, I have a job and I want to pick a career in in a different field, is there a period of transitioning that I'll leave the job and go into the career I want when it's not the job I'm doing?
So my advice to you, it can be in two ways, right? Sometimes in the organization we are currently, there might be a role that we feel might be fit for, which might be a different department. Most times, my advice to you is that if it depends on your really, you don't even have to have a close relationship with HR person. As an HR person, our job is beyond hiring. We're also career advisors and then counselors and therapists, to be honest with you. So at the same time, you can just walk up to the HR or maybe head of HR, or if you have someone in the HR department and ask, are there any opening there in the department you want to go into that you might fit into? Or do you think I can actually just, do a pro bono internship with my job at the same time? Because you don't want to stop earning, right? But if you have like a small time, you can give it maybe like 2 hours a week, right? Whereby you can learn that skill. But my advice to you would be in that phase of, if you want to go external, in that phase of transitioning, I don't think it's necessary that you have to quit your job. I think that you just need to find a balance, right? Find where you can find maybe an unpaid internship. That's what I will say because that is like your fastest way to get in. So you find maybe weekends whereby you can also learn that particular job you want to do, right? Without stopping what you're currently doing. So you find a way to balance both of them. So if you feel like it's overwhelming, save money, then move. And make sure before you leave, make sure you found that job, right? But most times, even when you're going into that job, you don't also want to go and start as an entry level person. You want to kind of have some skill sets so that you're able to get in and maybe start earning on that same level or be prepared to have a pay cut. So in doing that, think about it from different factors. Will I be out of job? Will I really think that I'll get a pay cut? If I'll get a pay cut, then start saving up for that. But beyond that, before I make that decision, most times we feel like we want to do this job. But then when we get into that job, are we sure that that's what we really want to do? Which is why that phase of, unpaid internship might work. Because to be honest with you, I'm sure all of us are working. It's until you start that job, you know whether you really like and enjoy that job because it's a long-term thing you're thinking about. So think about it. Start looking for maybe unpaid, somebody has a startup and is looking for people to assist. Oh, do you mind if I be a part of this project? I just want to learn, right? Nobody stops people from just learning because if you tell me that you want to learn, there's every high chance that you get that role faster. If you just tell me, oh, I want to get the I hope that helps.
Yes, ma. It did. Thank you very much. It does help.
All right. All right. It seems we have more hands up. Okay, Ruth Adegoke.
Hello, Samantha. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dari. Okay, so here's my question. Lately I've been applying for quite some jobs. I send out CVs to the extent I don't even remember the companies. I would just like send out and I feel if they get back, good. If they don't, we move on and everything. So, but some got back to me and I did like 3 interviews last 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? 2 or 3 weeks now, thereabouts, within 2 or 3 weeks now. But for the first one, I got to the second stage of the interview, but they never got back to me. The second one, it was just that first stage. In fact, I knew that I actually fucked up a bit in that first stage. So, and the third one, I even thought I was almost in. But yet, there's nothing. To the extent I even messaged one of the company's HR on LinkedIn and you never got back to me and anything. But she later told me that maybe the emails got mixed up, that I was rejected, blah blah blah. But it's now kind of getting to me, even though I'm trying to not think too much of it. But I don't know, maybe there's something I'm not doing right, or because I actually get called on, but at the end of the day in the interviews or after, something just comes up and they say they reject me rather. Thank you.
What's your field?
Yes, I'm
What
into copywriting. So I apply for copywriting jobs, social media marketing jobs, and I also apply for content writing. Between those three.
okay. Okay. So sometimes like some organizations don't have like a very like serious HR team whereby they take like employee, I would say employee slash candidate experience serious in the sense that they're unable to send you feedback. But what you can also do for that particular person that said you were rejected, ask them what was I lacking? Like why didn't I get it? Again, why didn't I get it? Right? What it does is that once they give you that feedback, just keep asking them, then take that feedback, right? Implement that feedback they've given to you in your next interviews. And if it doesn't plan out, still ask, right? Still ask. And also ensure that you either find companies that will probably, answer you or give you that feedback, but just out of curiosity, just ask them. Just ask, was I not could you or just ask them nicely, could you give me feedback as to why my interview wasn't, good or why didn't I scale through? Because those feedback is what you need, right? It would be unfair to me to just say, assume. I don't want to make speculations, right? So it would be important to first ask them because you already said you've gotten in already. So there's something that you're looking for. Maybe it's culture wise, or maybe it's something that is skill set that you don't have during interviews, particular. And you already identified you messed up in one. So the one that you felt like you messed up, what were the learnings from that one? So take it back. What were the learnings I could get from that? And how could I, just put all those things together? I could put all those learnings together to now make sure that my next interviews go well. So take some time, ask them, or reach out to a friend of yours that is maybe in the HR sector and let them do a demo interview with you. Or I'll be nice with you. You can reach out to me. I will link you up with my associates in my office. They can do a dry run interview with you. Would that work?
Ruth, does that work for you?
Yeah, it will. It will. Thank you very much. It
So
will.
Larry,
I'll
just
reach
think
out
of
to them.
me, okay? Yeah, just think of me. I'll just push. I'll push someone to do a dry run interview. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Adewumi,
All right.
Adekemi Adewumi. Hope you Adekemi Adewumi. Sorry, Adekemi, can you try and unmute now? Thank you so much, Samantha, for staying. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Samantha. Thank you for the session, and thank you, Dari. So my
Fine.
question is regarding CV formats. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is regarding CV formats. So I recently joined the HR department in my company, and I got to realize that they prefer the one where the candidate's picture shows on the format, on the CV. So I want to know from your experience okay, firstly, which do you prefer? And secondly, which do you think is better to use when applying for jobs?
So personally, right, I don't think I've worked in any organization you're like, you know what, let's see your face. And by the way, I've worked for big organizations because I've worked for a big group before. That's where I started my career. And no, it was not necessary. But again, it depends on the organization, right? Um, I had a very funny case recently, and a client was trying to recruit someone, and then their requirements was like the person has to be PC. I'm like, I don't understand. What does that mean? So for jobs like that, it means that they probably need to see the person's face, right? So first of all, it's important that you know, like why why do you need to see their faces? Do you get like because they will still come in for interviews, right? Or you can quickly go to the person's LinkedIn page and see the person's face. Do you get what I'm saying? So personally, if it's not a beauty industry or something that requires their face, I personally feel like it's arcade. That's my own that's my own judgment. Like I personally feel it's like it. Again, that's my own judgment, right? But again, you know your organization. Some organizations are really backward. Some organizations are a bit agile. Some organizations are still there trying to come out. So again, know the path you play in, which is still back to knowing the organization you want to work with. Do I still want to be in the 90s? Do I want to be in 2000, early 2000? Or do I want to be in 2026? 2026. Do you get? 2026 is already being very agile and forward. So it's my company, like government parastatals. You need to first identify that. And then maybe you can be the one to bring the change and say, you know what, whether they put their faces or not, we're still able to get the good candidate, right? So you might give that justification and then move your company forward. Okay. So I don't believe in, I personally, right? Like I said, like I like people that think, right? Some people are not receptive to change and thinking also. But before you bring something new, you need to do that. So that might be a new tax for you.
All right, thank you. Grace. So after Grace, then Yusuf. So Grace. Thank you so much, Samantha. I hope everyone is enjoying the session. Yeah, okay. All right, Grace, you can unmute your mic.
Hello, Samantha. Sorry, can everybody hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, yeah. So I have two questions actually. So do I go ahead with both?
You can,
Yeah,
you're the
you can.
co-host, so yes. You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So my first question is, as a recent graduate, right? I'm just trying to put myself out there on the job market, and I know a lot of companies, they don't really like to take chances with entry-level candidates. So how can I, as an entry-level candidate, tailor my CV, my resume to appeal to these organizations? And, from a HR perspective, right, what are things you would like to see in an entry-level resume that would appeal to an organization? And then my second question is, so I'm a law student and, I'm a law student, but I want to build a diverse portfolio, right? So when I'm applying for internships and jobs, I typically go for fields where I have professional interest, like HR and administrative positions. So is there ever a point where that could be a disadvantage to me? Like I submit my resume to an organization or something, and then they see that I've done, could that ever be a disadvantage to me? I guess that's my question.
Okay, so you've already answered one of my questions. I was just actually like what field. But I would say as an entry level person, I think that just identify some organizations are really open to taking entry level people. Some other ones are because of the way the business is structured. They might not have enough time to put like train people. Some people have openings like entry graduate training programs and whatnot. So I think that you already have a path that you're tilting towards, which is good. Many a times, like currently, I have the human resource department, but beyond that, admin is also under what I supervise, and then also IT. So in the grand scheme of team, I usually just mix my admin and HR together, right? And really, what you need to now show in your CV is merge your admin and HR. In fact, let HR be the core of it and HR, right? And then I liked what you've learned so far. But it's important that you also show what you've learned. Right now, whatever volunteering services you've done, include it, right? For me, communication is something that every HR person should have, right? Your ability to write well, whether you like it or not, is something that you need to have. And those are skills, like writing is something that gradually is dwindling down. But everybody loves a good writer. If you're fantastic at it, let that show you. Do you get what I'm saying? But in that case, right, now what you now need to do is don't box yourself into your law degree. Don't even do that at all. There are so many organizations that hire lawyers. So for example, I'll give you the big four because I've done that recruitment for a while. In tax department, for example, I think almost like 3 departments usually require lawyers. And their partners are lawyers. that end up taking CITN. So you now need to see, okay, what parts do other, like some lawyers really don't enjoy litigation. Do I want to become a company secretary? Do I want to go into corporate law and stuff like that? Then you find people within that part, right? What has been their growth path? Where did they start? And where are they currently? Can I probably imitate something similar, right? They might have done that maybe in 15, 20 years ago. And we know that hiring and, the work has moved. As at 10 years ago, nobody was saying, oh, I'm a creative, creative industry, blah, blah, blah. It was not yet, right? So you might want to bring it down and say, maybe in 7 years, maybe people who graduate from law school in 7 years, what has their path been? Are they tilted towards, just corporate laws? And you know that investment bank also hire a lot of lawyers. Do you know that? So food for thought. So just check. But do not box yourself into whether you want to do litigation or whatever. Just spread it, right? And then in so doing, find. And I think another thing to also do is that there are a lot of paid internships that people don't know about, even in Nigeria. So there are places called there's a page called Opportunity Corner. But there are a lot of pages, whether on Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatsoever. I'm sure you know about it. Even with Jumperman, as a last year, we've not started another cohort, but it's also important to mention it to this group of people. MasterCard runs a program called MasterCard Associate Program. In that program, they place associate with companies for 1 year, and they pay you for the 1 year period. And in that 1 year period, apart from being paid, you're being, posted. It is a high level, it's like Harvard level of to a good company that you can, use your skills for. And beyond those things, you now have, for example, you have things like mentorship, coaching, like basically lots of things in that structured training. So now for certain roles like that, I don't think a lot of people, I might be a millennial, right? I feel like a lot of people don't really use the internet well. You get, because there's so many opportunities that we don't know about. We miss those opportunities because we're looking at the wrong thing, right? So again, they usually post on Baobab. There's an app called Baobab app. It's probably going to be on the MasterCard Foundation. So follow MasterCard Foundation page. They run the programs in different African countries. But for West Africa, we handle for West Africa, so Ghana and Nigeria. Right now there's no cohort, but my advice to you would be on the pipeline, right? So that once a cohort opens, you are able to get into a job. But keep looking for opportunities. It could be a unpaid or paid internship, right? Or a graduate training period program. But don't assume that, oh, I've been out of school for 3 years, why should I go for an internship? Do you want to get that job or not? Right. So that internship position can now get you full time. Like on my team, most of my entry level people started off as graduate trainees, interns with me. It wasn't really difficult because while I was interviewing for them, I was looking for people who were very teachable, people who were smart, and people who could think. And once you have those skill sets, right, it's very easy to get them to where you want to get them to. And I can tell you for a fact, the two of them I have left, I'm so proud of them. Like, I'm proud of them at any point in time. Because, yes, they wanted to learn and they put their learning first. So always look out for things like that. And like I also mentioned to Samuel, just ask, what's the worst that would happen? They will move on to the next one. But like I said, perseverance is very, very key in this space. Like, you need to know that in the labor market in Nigeria is very, very funny. One morning you can just click it, but you never know. It took you time. And then you now see that as soon as it clicks, whatever thing that will happen after that will just start working out like this. So don't lose hope. Just keep doing that. Okay?
Thank you so much, Samantha. So Yusuf, I'm guessing after Yusuf, in case someone is still shy, like just take one person. All right, Yusuf. Um, you can unmute your mic. Any other person, don't be shy. Oh.
Okay, good evening, Samantha. Thank you very much for this wonderful, let me just say, lecture. So I'm now better informed on what to do to get a high-paying job. But irrespective of the fact, I have 3 questions to ask. So my first question goes this way. So as an HR personnel, what are the best strategies I can take to negotiate for salaries and benefits during interview? So that is my first question. Please, is that taken?
Yeah.
Okay. My second question is this. How can I tailor my resume and covering
Okay.
letter to stand? Can you hear me?
I did not hear your second question. You might want to take it again.
Okay. Okay. My second question goes this way. How can I tailor my resume and covering letter to stand out to employers during interview? Is that taken? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, should I go for the third question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my third question is this. What relevant work experience or internship can I pursue to build my resume? That's my third question.
Okay. So I think that I've answered the last two during my conversation so far. The second one I did a full slide on that. So I would not really go into that, just to be very honest with you. The third one, I would go into that. So I mentioned that already, that's Samuel and to Grace, right? Seek unpaid internship, volunteering services, and then put that into your CV. The first one right now is that the first one being negotiation. Employers pay for value. It's important that in selling yourself, that's what I'm saying, craft your CV. When you get into the interview, tell me that you know what you're doing, right? I'm going to pay you for the value you're giving to me. I'm not going to invest in somewhere that I know I'm not going to get return on investment. It's the same thing for investment, same thing for people too. If you do not show me that you have value or you're a great candidate, you have no right to bargain for the higher at the interview point because you're not proving yourself to me. And your CV and the interview did not show that. First of all, you need to ask yourself, will I even scale to that interview part to even have that conversation with them? Do you get what I'm saying? So at any point in time, whatever role it is, value first. It applies to even me as an experienced person, right? If I want to tell you that this is what I want or this is what I want, I must show you that I'm already there. And I must show you that I'm going to deliver value, right? I usually call that my value proposition as a person. So what am I bringing to the table, right? What am I going to bring to the table that would make your business move forward? That is what I'm selling to you. But what I'm selling to you is probably what's going to be in my head, but I cannot put my head, right? But I will tell you with what I've achieved so far. So it goes to your cover letter, whatever. It has to be value. It could be from, volunteering. This is what I did. This is what I participated in and whatnot. So it's as simple as that. Value gives you that. If you don't have, if you don't give me value, we cannot be having that conversation. Because employers don't want to. I'm not going to pour money into a basket. It's like I have to pour money into a bowl. Bowl might either be a fridge or it might be a boiling kettle. I either want to use that for something, right? So let's think about our skill sets and our experiences as I am delivering value to people. So if I'm delivering value and I know that I'm delivering top-notch value and I can show that, I can prove that, then conversation about money is not a problem. I can tell you for a fact, it's not going to be a problem. I think that's all.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's
Yusuf,
all.
are you satisfied, Yusuf?
Yes, I'm somehow satisfied. Okay, the reason why I asked all those 3 questions, maybe because I came in late. So I was not there when you
Okay.
buttressed on that. Why I want a little bit, please, if you can assist me a little bit. Just maybe a recap on those two questions I asked, please.
Also,
Okay.
this is being recorded, but if Samantha wants to go ahead, fine.
So I will touch a bit, but I think you can share it with him.
Okay.
So I'm not even sure. Sorry, I think I pressed to just share it. I'm sorry, apologies.
Yeah, so I will share the recording, right? This is being recorded on YouTube. So I'll just share it for you to go over it again.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So what's just one more person? Does any other person want to have a question? I know Samantha has to go. Samantha, I want to say thank you so much. I know you're not feeling fine, but you still decided to make that sacrifice. Thank you so much. So does anyone have any question? Anyone? Okay, I mean, I have a question, right? So my own question is more around, okay, Vivian has a question. Vivian, maybe after Vivian. So Vivian, can you unmute?
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Samantha. So actually, I've been trying to put my confusion, my thoughts in words, and know how to ask my question, because yes, I'm confused. So I want to ask, is it a disadvantage to stay on a job for long? And when I mean for long, maybe on a particular job for like 5 years and above, because you will hear some people say, okay, maybe the person stayed on the job for long, maybe the person is no longer marketable or something. When you start looking for another job, maybe trying to look elsewhere or something, does that stand against you, or should that be an advantage? Yes, because most times you see jobs, and especially when you want to transition, I feel it's a bit difficult, and most recruiters feel, why has this person stayed on this job for long and now looking to move? So I don't know, to me, I feel it's more of a disadvantage. You can clarify me on that. It's more of a disadvantage, but at the same time, some people still feel it's an advantage, because for a person to have stayed with a particular company for that long, that means the person is not just moving everywhere, moving around at maybe every time of the year, something like that. So yes, and at the same time, let me leave my question at that. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'll just run through that quickly. I think this will be like my last question. Okay, I'll just take one more and I'll just collect everything. So for me, right, back to value again. So if you're staying at one job, when you're moving up the ladder, right, internally, most times these days, moving up the ladder might not mean promotion, but it might mean more projects, right? It might mean more strategic things to do that you would add to your CV. So as a recruiter, I don't think I frown at people that have been on a job for more than 5 years, right? I would look at you as no flight risk, right? What I mean by flight risk are people that are usually just up, just move up and down. That's what you have most days. But I don't think it's a disadvantage. It would be if you have just been stagnant on the job, in the sense that you're doing a monotonous job, no learning curve is happening, right? You're just stagnant. But if you've been on that in that company, you didn't come this, you're not on the same, you're not the same way you came, in the sense that you've done several things. So your JD, your CV should show that you've been on different projects, you've done this, you've moved either up the career ladder or you've taken up more roles. But I personally don't feel like being 5 years at somewhere it's not. Where it would be a problem in the sense that, oh, I've been in a particular place, I've been an associate. I've been doing typing for 5 years. Okay, what other skills have you learned beyond that, right? So that's when it becomes a problem. But it's important that whatever, when people, okay, oh, we have this project, so please jump at it and do it, because that project will be added to your CV. Nobody can argue, nobody can take what work you've done, because those are the things you put on your CV. So most time when it feels like, oh, our managers are giving us job, it's not job they're giving you. They're growing you, but you don't know that it's growing you because nobody wants to hire someone that's been doing like nothing has changed, right? So if that's not the case for you, don't be weary. Like just sit back, bring out all the things you've done over the last 5 years, your key achievements, everything you've achieved, everything. Like look at your like this year now. What are the things I've done from January to date? Did I do the same thing last year? Was it the same thing I did up a year? Even if you're hiring, has my hiring changed? Do you get so look at it very well and say, am I really growing on the job or am I stagnant? So you now need to internalize it like in my career field, like this is where my career is going to. Am I still, let me use HR for example. When we started up HR, we're basically just saying, oh, manager will say, oh, do this. That's what HR would do. But right now, I can tell you for a fact, right? So I personally have a seat at the table in the sense that people's decisions are not made without me being here, right? So it has to be a collective effort because they know that, okay, yes, HR person, so let's have as a mind, as skill set and say, okay, this might be a problem, it might not work, it might not work. Okay, can we all now have that conversation together without having prior to right now, like prior to before COVID and maybe before 5, 10 years ago, all used to happen before was okay, this boss wants to do HR, do it. HR will not be there when they make a decision, whether it's work or it's not work, or will not be there, but just do it. But now it has changed in the sense that we're there. So we have to know what is. But again, like look, internalize it and say, have I been growing or have I been stagnant? And in doing that, it's important that you're honest and you're truthful to yourself, right? So remove that, sentiment and be very objective with yourself. Um, most times when it comes to bias, we don't know when we're biased to ourselves, but if you can look at yourself and be very, very direct with yourself, then once you do those analyses, have I been doing the same for the last 5 years? Am I fulfilled? Then you know you're not in a good place, then you might need to move out. But again, it's not a red flag for it. It's not a red flag. You tell me that you want to learn. That's what they're looking for. That is what people are looking for. Hey, I think I can only take one. I need to rush.
Yeah,
I say about the clinic.
I know. Okay, peace. I think after Peace asked that question, my own question is, how do you know when to leave? When is it time to leave? That's my own question. Like after Peace. So Peace, can you unmute your mic?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing this insightful knowledge with us. So my question is, okay, before my question, I want to just give a little hint on internship that you mentioned earlier. Like I'm a beneficiary of an internship. I finished service that was 2022 or last year or so. So I enrolled for an internship. Before then, I volunteered with AI and the rest. And, so the internship was for 6 months. Actually, it wasn't paid, like they were paying, but it was a token. So I just see it as a platform to learn and then to, improve myself. Then, fortunately for me, I was retained at the job and all that. And then, of course, my salary was renegotiated. And then I just thank God that I took in that internship.
I'm sorry, please. Sorry to cut you short. Can you go straight to the question? I'm sorry. I have a very limited time.
Okay, so my question now is okay, at the current job now, how can I okay, I've been on the job for like 2 years now. So how can I renegotiate my services to my employee? Like, okay, I've had some experiences, I've had some, some trainings and the rest. So how can I negotiate with them, knowing full well that I've heard some of my other staff that they've tried negotiating with them and they turn them down and they eventually find out leaving the organizations and the rest. So me on my own end now, how can I start renegotiating my salary with them, with HR and the rest? That's just my question.
Do you have performance appraisal system? Like, do they feedback on your performance?
Yes, initially they said they'll use performance appraisers and the rest, but I've noticed performance appraiser does not even add up. Performance appraiser at the end of the year, they give everybody probably the same ratio. Let's say they are doing increment, they'll say maybe 10%, 15%, and the rest, and that is on flat for everybody. So it's not like you are different, you have 50%, while someone else will have 70% and the rest. So this is just the standard that they've been operating on.
So I think in the grand scheme of things, it's also important to know that right now the economy is very, very volatile, right? A lot of businesses will only invest in value. So again, back to what I said to Case, like, are you giving what level of value are you giving to your employer, right? Do they feel like you're that employee that they can do without, or can you easily replace? Many a times, employees who are easily replaced do not necessarily have that. You don't fall in, you've not really looked at it and said, what are the value I'm bringing on board, right? Because they know that if you're easily replaced, it means that other people are also looking for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it might mean that you might just need to move out because, again, they cannot do more than they can afford, right? That's another thing that we need to look into too. And then again, it depends on your own role too. It's not necessary that you have to be 5 years in the company. No, it's not necessary. It's not important, right? If that's the case, most times they are doing what they can do, but it's for them. It's best that companies are able to pay people salary than promising you something that they're unable to maintain for the long run. So if that's the case, then you might just need to start looking out for somewhere else. But before you look out for somewhere else, make sure you have value before you go for a job. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay, Dario, you say something.
Yes, I say well said. So I think my question is the last one. Like, how do you know when to
message? I think the person got me wrong. Someone put I can't find it. Where's the read there's a chat section somewhere.
Okay, well,
the
what
question
is the person
just
said?
something about if you're easily replace something. I said something and then
He said,
then
oh,
he
if it
said,
says if you are easily replaced, it means other people are looking for you.
no. If you're easily replaced, it means other people are not looking for you. If you are hard to replace, people are on the look for you.
Yeah.
Again, value. If you're easy to replace, trust me. That's like the limited. If a skill set is hard to replace, oh my gosh, even you yourself, you know that you have value because everybody will be flocking around you. Or you will easily get into an offer, like you will get into your offer. That way, you know what it takes. So I think beyond your company right now, like I said, when I was telling Grace, like look within, right, and say what have they been able to attract? What kind of company, So while you're growing and when you're doing your continuous learning that I spoke about, you're learning not only for your company alone, but where you want to go. So that's what I'm saying. It has to be a career path, not like to me, a job is a destination, right? A career path is a journey that never ends. Because what it would bring for you is unlimited opportunities, even to retirement. So yeah, that's the arc.
I mean,
let's say last question.
Yeah. So how do you know when to leave? Basically. So yeah.
So first of all, you have to. It depends, right? Some people leave to just clear their head, which is fine. Like you just want to take some time off work. I feel like these days, like with our generation, we do that a lot. Again, you cannot do that if you don't have value. Please, you people, don't do that if you're not sure of yourself, please, right? Yeah. You want to, by the time when you're ready to get back into business, like by the time you're ready to get back into work, you know that people will be waiting to catch you. That's how it is. Like they're waiting to pick from you. That's how it is. So really, look internally, right? Am I satisfied here? This is beyond the pay. Am I finding fulfillment in what I'm doing? Do I feel like I'm stagnant? Do I feel like I need another change somewhere else? So you will now also look, also looking at poaching me. If they're poaching you, trust me, it's not everywhere that comes to poach you that you want to go to. So do I have similar companies that are looking at taking me? Am I ready for that? Or am I even ready for the next phase? Right. Sometimes a woman that come and meet you and say, oh, you know what, I'll give you 300% increment. Can you pay me after 2 months? Right? So people, a lot of companies would, let's not fall for that trap. A lot of companies, especially startups, I'm sorry, I'm really, if anybody apologizing, but no apologies. They would attract you with the high salary, but many a times they might be unable to keep you for different other factors, right? So just look at it. Like if you feel like you're already getting burnt out and it's consistent, right? And it is not, you can't even explain it. You just feel like you're not growing. There's growth also. There's internal parts. There's growth also, right? You don't feel like you're growing, you're stagnant, but you feel like you can also grow elsewhere. So it's important to also look into those things, right? And just look at it. But then we can have a conversation. We can explore all assets. We can have a conversation, okay?
Yeah.
But most times you always see the sign. You always know. You just know. Just know. But there are different factors too. Like you also need to, like I said, you also need to, whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, like we have a faith that we hold on to. And it's important that at a certain point, even in career, like it plays out a lot. Like I always like recently I was like, that was a very funny sense of humor, right? Sometimes like we're already at the breaking point, right? But we don't know until we get a sign, right? And that sign might come in different ways. But except you're very conscious, like you have to be self-conscious to say, okay, this is it. Like, man, I didn't know this was going to be this is it. And many a times, like it might not be leaving that organization, it might be taking up another role. I've never considered that. It might be taking up another role because we feel like we've done everything in that one already. We don't feel connected to that particular one again. You get?
Yeah, I get you.
So yeah.
Thank you so much, Samantha, on behalf of Growing with God, Executives Open Initiative, and ASAS, as well as the Source My Job community. I say thank you. So yeah, so guys, it's on YouTube.
Well done.
Translating it. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I mean, you said that we can do a physical one. I'm hoping that can happen soon as well, maybe 2-3 months from now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
For the next 5 months, I don't know my calendar.
Yes, now. Thank you so much, Samantha. I don't
it'll
take
be
this for
nice
granted.
to direct or something. It'll be nice to. I think I'll be in ULAG sometime next month, but yeah, it'll be nice to.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Samantha. Please take care of yourself and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
I will.
Bye, everyone. All right. Bye.
Well, thank you so much, and well done, everyone. And please don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Like